press the bell icon on the YouTube app to never miss a video from Newslaundry.
Hello and welcome to Newslaundry interviews. Today we have with us Tejinder Sodhi. He's a journalist. He's been a journalist for about 18 years. He's worked with PTI, with Hindustan Times and the Tribune. And his last stint was with Republic TV that he joined in 2017. And he resigned from Republic TV last month. Tejinder's resignation has become viral on social media. It's being quoted by a lot of people. There's a website called P Gurus, which has put out the whole resignation letter for you guys to read. And we're talking to him at a point where there's a lot of concern about where television media is headed. There's a lot of anger, even from people within the industry, seeing how the medium is being completely discredited, and it's not really raising issues that should be raised, and it's obsessing about things like SSR. We've seen the sort of coverage with the SSR case. So I want to speak to Tejinder specifically because I read his resignation letter and I felt that he raised some very important concerns that are concerning a lot of other people associated with television media and a lot of people who consume television media. So my first question to you, Tejinder, is what were your immediate reasons for quitting Republic TV?
See, Manisha, I'll be frank with you. I have been a journalist for almost 18 years. As you rightly mentioned, that I started my career with Hindustan Times, then I shifted to the Tribune. And prior to joining Republic TV, I was working as a principal correspondent with PTI. I was based out in Jammu. I had my studies I did my MS in journalism from University of Kansas. I did my MA in journalism from University of Kashmir. I hold the privilege of being the only Indian civilian to have studied at the US Army Command and General Staff College at Fort Leavenworth. General Rawat, who is the current CDS, he had been an alumni of the US Army Command and General Staff College. So having said that about me, first I'll tell you how I got into Republic, because there's an interesting story, though I did share it in my resignation letter, though it was not my resignation letter. I had resigned on 5th of August. There was a small resignation letter in which I wrote to the HR team, because Republic, I think, is the only television, organization where they don't ask you about the reasons why you left, because everybody knows that the reason remains the same for people leaving the organization. So the HR people or the people concerned, they don't ask you why you left the organization.
Usually in big organizations, you have exit interviews. Where
Yes. So, but that is not the culture here in Republic. So, in my resignation, which was just a couple of lines, I wrote to the HR team that whenever I'll get time, I'll send a note to you outlining the reasons why I left. Leaving a job at this time of the pandemic, when you have so much of job, people don't have job in the market. It was really a tough decision. It was not an easy decision for me. But you see, for the past 3.5 years, I have been going through a lot. I was heading the Jammu bureau while I resigned on 5th of August. On the 2nd of August, I was promoted. I was given a promotion. I was but before my resignation, I wrote to the HR that though I'm thankful to them for considering me for that promotion, but I humbly reject that promotion offer. So having said that, it's been almost 7 to 8 months that I have been telling my bureau here in Jammu, my colleagues who were working with me, that at any moment you will see a resignation coming from me. They thought that Tejinder is just bluffing with us, but I said that you people be prepared, that any moment you will come to hear that Tejinder has put up paper. There were several reasons. The reason being that the staff was not treated well. Everybody, if you see the chain of events ever since this company started, I joined Republic on 20th of March 2017. So it was a couple of months before the actual launch of the channel. I had not applied for this job. Somebody had recommended my name to Arnab. I was getting married the day I got a call from Arnab's office. So I thought that somebody's playing a bluff on me. I snubbed him. I told him that I'm getting married. So call me after a couple of days. I got the call. Arnab spoke to me. He was very polite. He was very nice. He was very sober. He told me that he's going to revolutionize the TV news industry. This would be a channel which would challenge the people in power, will be basically asking them tough questions which other so-called Lutein media they haven't been able to do. So I was very excited. I'll tell you that you accept it or not, but Arnab is a great motivational speaker. If you speak to him, you are going to believe him. Even before this call, I was speaking to one of my former colleague, and he compared Arnab with a great motivational speaker. So, having said that, I joined Republic. But after joining this organization, I found out that this was not the journalism that I wanted to do, that I have been doing. This was like we were doing a hit job. My first, the first thing that struck me that this is not the journalism which I am doing was the incidents which happened in New Delhi when the Congress party they refused the Republic team to enter inside the hall where the news conference was going on. They stopped Republic reporters from going inside. So what happened that we get a call from the people who are considered to be close to Arnab. They told us, you wear the black bands, take up a placard in your hand, go to the Congress office and start protesting there. You know, I said, what? This is not journalism. The protesting outside a political party is not the job of a journalist. But you know, at that time, I had already resigned from my previous organization. I had joined Republic, so I had no other option but to do that. So I went there. We were wearing that black band. We were holding that placard. This was the first time it struck me that no, Tejinder, this is not the journalism which you intended to do, which you wanted to do. So then there were certain events. So I was told to go and hide outside the house of Miss Pushkar's father, who lives here in Jammu. Even I wasn't told by the people that what I have to do. I was told, you go there, you hide there with your unit, and we will let you know what to do. I was
So these
what?
are editors of Republic, like this would be a news editor or
See. I'll tell you one thing. The reason I won't be naming anybody because there are several people who have already left the organization. There are several people who are right now within the organization. They are in the process of leaving. So I went to the house of Mr. Pushkar, the father of Miss Pushkar. So then I get the call from the office telling me that Tejinder, go and shove the mic into the mouth of Mr. Pushkar and tell him to say and blame a particular person for killing his daughter. So I had to save my job when I entered. Yeah. So no, I won't name anybody right now. So please, it's for your viewers to judge. So I went inside. The house. I saw that Mr. Pushkar, he was an aged and elderly man, a weak person who had lost his daughter. It was really traumatic for him. So I was in tears. Trust me, I'm a very emotional person. So I was in tears. My cameraman, he consoled me. I said, no, Gaurav, I won't be able to interview this man. It's against my ethics because what should I ask him to blame so and so person for killing his daughter? So what happened that I get a call. I told them that no, I won't be able to speak to this man. So I was snubbed. Why you have let us down? I told them, yes, I have the man Friday of this house. He's with me. Let me ask him some question about his experience about the relation between Miss Pushkar and the person whom they wanted to be blamed. So I asked that man Friday, and he spoke very good about the relation. He said that the couple used to visit the home, so he never raised any aspersion on that man. So what happened that that part of the interview was never played.
Okay.
So now coming back to the recent chain of events, you see the way journalism is being killed. You see, I told you that I had been a professional journalist. I had worked with various reputed organizations. I had my own image. People in my state, they knew me. I'll also want to add here, my job here was as a hitman to find out what Omar Abdullah is saying, to find out what Mehbooba Mufti is saying, to basically to find out everything that the parties which are not following the ideology of a particular political party, whatever they are saying, find fault in it and report it that they are anti-national. So
But
my
I just want to interrupt you just to bring out what you've said in your resignation, where I'm just quoting the letter, where you said my only job was to target and speak against Omar Abdullah and Mehbooba Mufti, which I did. My job was to ensure to project them as anti-nationals and find fault in whatever they say.
I do acknowledge that I have written those words. Those words belong to me. So I shifted my focus to defense because, as I told you, that I studied at the U.S. Army's Command and General Staff College. I did my defense correspondent course here in India way back in 2007. So defense had always been my forte. So I shifted my focus on defense. I tried to get out of this kind of reporting, but for the past several months, the way things were being projected, the way the entire focus is on one case. You see, I am not here to judge who is wrong, who has killed SSR, whether it was a suicide. Let the investigative agencies do whatever they are doing. They are good at doing their own job. Let them do it. But people on ground, they want to know what we are doing to revive the economy, what we are doing to make good of those people who have lost their jobs. There are millions of people in the country who have lost their job. You see, I am neither pro Congress, I am neither pro BJP. I am pro people. I have all my reporting. If you see, the day I started my career in journalism, I have been pro people. I have been a nationalist. People like the day I resigned, I put it on Twitter. People started targeting me, saying that now you have become a so-called urban Naxal. You have become anti-national. So I told them, see, my nationalism is in my blood. I am not a nationalist because I worked with so and so person or with so and so company. My nationalism is there in my heart. I wear it in. I proudly wear my nationalism. So it has nothing to do with my nationalism, but the way the things were being projected, the people are they are made to think about those issues which they are least bothered about. Right now there are many concerns which should be highlighted. And let me add to it the final nail to the coffin for my resignation. It happened that for the past couple of months I had been following for a very important interview of a very senior army officer. I won't name him because it won't look nice to bring the army into it. So I was following that interview, following the Ladakh standoff. So what I did, I wrote to various places that I should be given that interview, and that interview was granted to me. What happened that when Arnab has the galls to speak against nepotism, the nepotism is taking place inside his own company. What happened that Arnab sent, the army get an email from the I don't know whether it went from the Arnab's office, his wife's office, they got the email from the Republic head office that the interview should not be given to Tejinder, but it should be given to one person who belongs to the native place of Arnab's wife. So because that person, so this was a biggest insult to me, because you see, I have been covering the defense. I had been interviewing the senior army officers. So I said enough is enough. I wrote to that guy, that reporter who I mentioned in my email, that person is incapable to differentiate between the uniform of Navy and Air Force. So you have given my interview to him. So I totally rejected. So it was around 8 p.m. after Puchta Hai Bharat that I get a call from Arnab. So in his usual style, he started shouting. He did not even listen to a single word. I very politely told him, Mr. Goswami, listen to me. Then, in his usual tone and tenor, he started bashing me, used some cuss words. I, being a Sikh, I will tolerate everything, but I will not tolerate any abusive language. So I had to give him back in the very same language which he has been using against all the staff members, which he has been using on the television set. So I had to give him back. I won't be able to share it with you or with your viewers, but I had to give him back. And trust me, it was in pure Punjabi, and the Punjabis would understand what giving back in pure Punjabi would mean.
So basically what you're saying is the last straw was an interview that was supposed to be yours. It was given to someone that you say was in Arnab's coterie. You've
Yes,
cited him as
yes, yes.
now, one of the things I wanted to ask you was that you've said in your resignation letter, one of the first things you've said is that you feel that you were an accomplice to the crime of reducing journalism to a joke. Now, I want to ask you, what are the things that you remember now as a journalist that you feel you are embarrassed of that you did when you were with Republic? Uh, Even one instance that gives our viewers, I mean, there may be many or there may not be many, but I want you to tell us one incident that kind of really explains to our viewers why you think you were party to something that.
Yeah. Manisha, let me correct you. I said that journalism has not been reduced to a joke, but journalism has been killed. So I'm a party to that, the murder of journalism. You see, in the past what is journalism? Journalism is when you question the people in power, you don't blame a particular party which is already out of power. You don't blame them for each and every mess. You don't go to Jawaharlal Nehru, who will never come back and defend himself that, see, the fault was in Jawaharlal Nehru, whatever is happening in Kashmir. So what did you ever ask the people in power that for the past 6 years, what you people have been able to do? Manisha, I'll quote an example here. What happened with me? This instance happened just, I think, 2 years ago. The story was well covered by Indian Express. Hats off to their journalist Muzammil Jalil, who did this cover story. What happened that I get a letter from some of my sources in the army. The letter was addressed to the state administration here in Jammu, saying that one of the senior leader of a particular party who was a minister at that time, I won't be naming him, he is constructing a house near the ammunition dump of the army, which is very dangerous. And there are certain guidelines, there are certain restrictions that a person, you cannot construct a house within so much of distance from the ammunition dump, because there are certain guidelines which have been set. Uh, you know, I did a story on that. I went to that place where the construction was going on. I got everything videographed. I had that the genuine letter copy with me. I got it verified from my sources in the army that whether this letter is genuine, and they said yes, the letter is genuine. The state administration, they also accepted that they have received that letter. So everything was on camera. The illegal construction, the way the construction was going on when we went there, how, everything, a complete package. I did a complete package. So, that story, when Arnab or Republic says that we are pro army, the one thing which used to give me goosebumps after I joined Republic was the slogan which we used to say, army first, nation first, no compromise. So when the army is saying that a person belonging to a particular political party is constructing a house, he's a minister, so you should have questioned that person in power. To my surprise, I spoke to Arnav for a good half an hour about this story. He was so excited. But when he came to know about the political party which this person, this minister belonged to, that story was killed.
Which party was this person belonging
I
to?
don't I don't want to. You see, Manisha, I don't want to go into these party politics. It's anybody's guess. You people can guess out. Like I won't be naming people. I won't be naming any party, because I have to live here. I have my family. There are various reasons. I won't be naming anybody. So kindly bear with me.
But you're saying that that story was not allowed to air.
Yes, that story never went on here.
Okay. But what is the stuff that you were asked to do that maybe embarrassed you of, you know,
See, I'll tell you. In every story, you had to find an angle by which you can bash a particular political party which is out of power.
you've said that you were asked to paint Umar and like your job was to make Umar and Mufti seem like anti-nationals. So how does that play out? Like what you were told as reporters that you have to do this? Just make them look bad?
See, that was the agenda. You see, I'll tell you what actually happened. You see, I won't be lying with you. I won't. What used to happen that, see, if Omar Abdullah is holding a press conference or Mehbooba Mufti is holding a press conference, there are people who are sitting at the desk who are monitoring whatever they are saying. If they speak 1,000 words which are pro India, if they say 1,000 words which are pro army or pro nation, they won't go for it. They will find out a single flaw, a single point which they think goes is anti-national, goes against the narrative which they want to go for it. So then we used to get a call from the desk, sir, live aa jaiye, this we are going to pick up this story, so come fast live. So then we used to start our blah 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 against Mehbooba Mufti, Omar Abdullah. You see, they are anti-national, they said this, they said that. We never touched that part wherein they used to say good about the country, wherein they used to say good about the people, good about other communities. But yes, the one thing which they used to say, which for our channel was anti-national, pro-lobby, or whatever you call it, we used to go against them. So this is how things work for us.
No, were there implicit instructions to not do stories on BJP? Were you ever told that you're not touching anyone in the BJP?
No, honestly speaking, we were not told. I don't know about other reporters, but I never got that instruction that you won't. But it was really understood when your story got dropped. I recently mentioned about that the construction of the house. So it was obvious.
Some of what you say can, people will say it's internal office politics. People can say that you are disgruntled, so you're saying these things about him. But so, which is why I want to get more to specific points on what exactly journalism has come to mean in Republic, which is why I'm asking you for specific instances where you felt that what you are doing is not the job of a journalist. And I want to come to a question that I've been thinking often. A lot of people have noted when Republic reporters go on ground, they're literally heckling people, whether it's in press conferences or you see outside Ria's house. Newslaundry did a story on how 2 Republic Bharat reporters were just shoving their mics into anyone who was there. So, were you also asked to do these things? And is this a standard? I mean, I just want to understand how it works. Like, is it a standard operating procedure? You're told to go with your mics and shove it into people's mouth and embarrass them?
Unfortunately, yes. We were told to do these. They call it those chase sequences. Go and do the chase sequence with Omar Abdullah.
Okay,
Go and do.
You call it chase sequence.
Yes. There's a word which, yes, we used to call it chase sequence. Go and chase, do a chase sequence with Omar Abdullah. Go and do a chase sequence with Mehbooba Mufti. Go and do a chase sequence with whoever did not follow the ideology which they wanted to go and. You might have seen those where the other person is getting irritated. He's trying to push you. So that was the result of those chase sequences, because most of the time people are not comfortable.
You also mentioned in your resignation about nepotism in Republic. Now, you mentioned that his wife heads the Samya Brata Goswami. She heads the digital head desk.
No. You see, Arnab should be the last person to speak about nepotism. You see, his wife looks after about the. I'll tell you. See, Arnab is the managing director and editor-in-chief of the organization. His wife, she is when he calls Sonia Gandhi as the super prime minister, his wife is really the super editor-in-chief and the super managing director in the organization. Though right now she holds the designation of senior executive editor, but she is the one who decides on everything. If you want leave, you have to write her.
Your stories, for example, would you discuss your stories with her, or would she call you for?
Yes. We used to discuss many things. We used to discuss how to go about the story. She was basically the one who controlled the way a reporter should work, where they should go. Each and every decision, she was a party to it. She was part of it. Whenever there was a conference call between Arnab and me, she used to be there. So basically, she was the one who micromanaged everything. When I was promoted, the basic thing is when you promote a staff, it is the HR people who should call you and tell you that we have promoted you. But it was his wife who called me at 1 in the night. I was fast asleep, to tell me that they are generous enough that they have promoted me, and we should tell the people that at a time when other organizations they are firing their people, they are reducing their salaries, Arnab is generous enough to have promoted his staff. But this promotion came with a rider that there will be no salary hike for the next couple of few months. So you see, the yardsticks were different for different people.
But that's true for lots of channels, no? I mean, like even if you look at India today, you have, it's a family-run enterprise with Arun Puri and Kali Puri in decision-making role.
Yes. But do they claim? Do they shout that we are against nepotism? I don't think that they do it.
So you're saying that his wife had an important role to play in the.
Yes, you see, I have no problem. His wife, being Arnab's wife, she has every right to be in the organization. I am not nobody to challenge it. But when you have the goals to lecture other people about nepotism, when you are telling why the so-called star son has become star, why so-called actor's wife or son or father, so then you should have also the courage to practice whatever you are preaching to others. So that is what I wrote in my that email.
Now, what about everyone who's going to say you are just a disgruntled employee? You are making all these claims about Arnab and his organization because you're no longer there. What would you say to that? And why should we believe you? I mean, you could also be just an angry person who's saying things that aren't true.
See, Manisha, this is what I have been listening for the quite a while. People have been calling me, they have been trolling me, saying, "Why should we trust you?" And you see, everybody has the right to speak. But as I rightly mentioned, Manisha, someday somebody had to speak. You see, we all see Bhagat Singh, but we love people like Bhagat Singh. But what we want them to be born in our neighbor's house, not in our house. We don't want. I thought that why to wait for somebody to expose them? Why not me? My professor in University of Kashmir, he used to say that, Tejinder, no story is worth your life. But here it wasn't about stories. I used to go, if you see the archive footage or if you see my work, I had been to the encounters. I had reported from the ground where the action was taking place. I have been to the border when there were heavy shelling from across. You never know whether you will be coming home dead or alive. I have reported from the ground. I have so much of experience. Why would I say, you see, there was no reason like for me to be a disgruntled employee. There were, I was fed up with the editorial policies and also the way staff is being treated.
Okay.
So I mentioned those names. You can see, I know that none of them, they will come and speak to you. But I'll tell you, as I mentioned, that I have got their calls and some of them are angry with me why I didn't put their name in my letter. And you see, the names which I have mentioned, you go and call them. I'll give you their numbers. Go and call them. Ask them that. Yeah, ask them. They won't come in public to speak to you the way I am doing. But ask them whatever Tejinder has said. If there is an iota of doubt in that, I tell you, Manisha, here on your platform that I'll publicly apologize. I will leave journalism. Just hold on. I have this degree from the University of Kansas behind me. I promise you that I'll tear this into pieces in front of you if any single allegation which I have leveled is found to be wrong.
Now, I just want to sum up with broadly the issues that you've presented. And I think this is something also that maybe it's not just Republic TV. There are other news channels also where reporters are going through this because we've seen how, they're being asked to chase people, like you said, chase sequence or do mindless reporting. The basic problems that you encountered there was A, that you were not allowed to do stories, some of the stories that didn't make a certain party look good. There was an agenda in the channel to go after the people that they didn't like. So you basically were doing hit jobs on behalf of the channel, like you said. You had to go after Umar, you had to go after Mufti. And the way you guys were treated as employees, in the sense that as a reporter, you felt that you were a filler, like you said. It wasn't a place where you were going to explore your own reporting talent.
See, Manisha, I'll tell you one thing. I know that I have taken on a very powerful person. He has the platform, he has the ability, he has to contacts to.
And legal must.
Yes, everything right now. Like, but you see, even the empires that the people like Alexander they built, it had a fall. So we strongly believe that time is a great teacher. I'll tell you, Arnab has used his platform to abuse, to say bad words about the people, his former colleagues, the people who have any sort of differences with him. You know, as you were asking me, what was the final straw in this thing? There is also one instance which I really felt bad. You know, incidentally, I was sitting with my mother, my wife, and we were watching a particular show I won't name. There was a particular army officer, a former army officer, and during the show he used a very abusive slang which went viral on social media.
Yes. I know what you're talking about.
I was ashamed in front of my family. My sister-in-law had come on to visit my daughter because they had come to see her. So we all my I won't. You see, please kindly I won't be naming anybody, but you know, and I thought that if it had happened anywhere else, that person should have been boycotted by the channel, because you can have difference of opinion, you have every right to disagree with your fellow panelists, but using such a word on, I thought that he would be boycotted, but that never happened. People are encouraged. You see, Manisha, I'll tell you one thing. Do you think that a person who is expert in one thing, he can be expert in politics, he can be expert on science, he can be expert on A, B, C, whatever under the sun, this person or that person, he's expert? No.
So yeah, there are analysts who now they are experts on economy, on science. They talk about Corona, they talk about Congress, they talk about elections. They become pollsters also. So that's a formula. But
and you know, they talk about defense also, and the defense analysts who once served in the army, they talk about politics, they talk about every damn thing under the sun. They talk and they don't make any sense. You know, people do watch it, but trust me, my daughter, who is just 1 year old, she used to love watching Republic debate. She's just 1 year old. She, you know, I'll say कि हम उसे वो खाना तब खाती थी जब debate लगता था. She's just 1 year old. Okay. You know, then I realized, what am I feeding her? You know, after that time, though I was an employee with Republic, I switched off Republic. I put a parental lock on. I have 3 televisions at my home, and I put a parental lock on every one of them that Republic should not be played. So this was even when I was working with Republic.
You were worried about what they were feeding to society, in the sense shouty, angry matches with not really much substance, and debates that are basically just abusive and aggressive. That's what. And actually, one of the things that I've noticed, and this is true for Republic.
No, tell me one thing. Do you call them debates? Are they worth enough to be called debates? They are not debates. They are just slander match. They are just abusive matches. They are not.
Even debating has certain rules and certain flair. But also the problem in a lot of these channels now is that the primetime slot does not have a reporter leading the story of the day. So, you know, usually, traditionally, you would have at least half an hour or 1 hour of news programming, which is led by reporters across the country. So a reporter in Bihar will come at 9 p.m., tell you Bihar ka kya haal hai floods mein. reporter from Jammu will come and tell you what's happening in Jammu if there's an important news event there. Or, reporter from Uttar Pradesh will talk to you about coronavirus and, how hospitals are dealing there. So all that is finished. They are not, there is no reporter-led news programming.
Being a journalist and old school journalist, I'll tell you that journalism is long dead in our country. It's long dead. I don't see
television journalism, but not newspaper and digital.
the way I saw journalism in past 3.5 years, because I'll tell you, I did when I was in US, there was a different kind of atmosphere. Though you have the channels like Fox News there, but yes, I saw journalists. I went to White House once. I sat there with the journalist fraternity there. I had been a speaker at National Press Club in Washington DC. So I saw people at that time. Obama was the president of US. I saw journalists questioning the people in power. I went there as a student. I did not go to ask the question to the president, but we were taken as part of our curriculum to show us how the White House journalist corps, they do work. We went to Pentagon. We see how the reporting from Pentagon is done. The atmosphere was entirely different. The people, they were not afraid to question the people in power. That was journalism. I don't say that you don't have bias in the journalism in US. Yes, they do have bias. They do have.
They have ideologies also, and they openly support a party or.
Yes, that's. But here, in the name of journalism, people are being fed with trash, and people are happy taking that trash.
Okay, great. Last question to you is: are you gonna join TV again?
See, Manisha, honestly telling you, honestly,
what do you say to young kids who want to join television? Like, there are lots of aspiring journalists who want to work.
I'll tell the young professionals, young journalists who are fresh college graduates. I have been, since I put up my papers, my letter has gone viral. I don't know how it got leaked. It has gone viral. People have been, these young professionals, they have been contacting me on LinkedIn. They have been sending me messages. I tell them, see, there is still hope. Until and unless you people realize that money, power is not your ultimate goal. Your ultimate goal is that you have to be the voice of the people. You have to be a journalist for the people, not for the people who are sitting in power, not for the people who are sitting in opposition, not for the people who you think that one day they will be in power. You have to be a journalist, a reporter, and report for a person who has lost his job, who is unable to feed his family. I saw one of your new sons, this what you call your show.
TV news.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was so much moved when your colleagues, they did that wo English newspaper wala ki we are thankful to the government that they have given this advertisement in the language which we understand. So it was, though it was a satire.
Yeah.
So though it was a satire, but trust me, it really moved me. Trust me, it really moved me, because that is the journalism which people look towards, which people want. Not the journalism that you come, X person is saying something and you start bashing him day in and day out. You try to frame somebody to settle your own personal scores. This is not the journalism. Don't use your platform. And my advice to those people is, don't go with that channel. Don't go with that newspaper. Don't go with that digital platform, which in the name of journalism is spreading hate, which in the name of journalism is doing unprofessional things, which those who are killing ethics. Join a journalistic organization. It's up to you. God has given you a brain, so use it. I did a blunder, but when I see back, I do feel that my blunder, I was kept in dark. I was told that this organization would be a totally news organization. Had I known, if I had seen this organization work for these many years, I would never had joined it. I joined it at that time where I was not aware about the ideology, the direction, the way it will work, it will function, or the way the staff will be treated. I would have never joined. There were several horror stories which people used to tell me They used to tell me, don't join this man because this is what we went through. I never trusted them because, I always believed that the person who is committing you, he's saying that we are going to change the so-called narrative. You see, I'm not against any particular news channel, but the way several channels are functioning. So I thought that this organization would be different. But I'm sorry to say, I did a blunder, and I will tell the younger generation to think several times before taking any leap to join. And as far as the last question you asked me, that whether I'll be joining TV journalism, yes, if I get an opportunity to work for an organization which works for the people, which report from the ground, which wants to highlight the issues which common people are facing, which wants to highlight the real stories, the real groundwork, I'll love to join. Even I'll tell you, Manisha, one thing. If yesterday, the day before yesterday, one of my friends told me, Tejinder, yeah, would you love to come back to Republic? Before this letter went viral, I told him, yes, I would love to come back to Republic if Arnab Goswami gives in writing that he will change his editorial policy, he will fulfill the promises which he made at the time when I joined this channel, that he will revolutionize the TV industry. This would be a channel which will report about people's issue. This will be a channel which will ask questions to the people in power. And if he starts treating his staff well, like human beings, like his colleagues, if he makes those changes, I would love to be back in Republic, because I have the difference in ideology, difference in the way he treats staff. This is what I told my friend.
Okay. Thank you so much, Tejinder, for speaking to us, taking so much time.
Yeah, it was my pleasure, Manisha.